Good evening. Happy New Year. Welcome. This is our first school board meeting for 2024. The time now is 7 o'clock on Monday, January 22nd, 2024. I now call this meeting to order of the Aransas Pass Independent School District Board of Trustees. This evening, now that we have a quorum, we'll have our pledges of allegiance. Mr. Stansbury, if you'll lead us with that, and our invocation by Mr. Rector.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
Let us pray. My Heavenly Father, we thank you for this beautiful day you have allowed us to enjoy. We thank you for your loving kindness and your tender mercy upon us. We come now praying for our staff and our students as they begin our 2023-2024 school year. We pray, Lord, you would protect them and keep them safe in your keeping care. We will continue to put our trust in you, knowing that you will never leave us or forsake us. Now we ask your blessings upon this meeting as we begin this evening. We ask all these things in the mighty name of Jesus Christ. For his sake we do pray. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you, Mr. Stansbury, and thank you, Mr. Rector. At this time in our agenda, we'll recognize public testimony. So if anyone is signed up, no one has signed up for public comments? Okay. Our next item, we're pleased to hold our district recognitions for Panthers of the Month and Employees of the Month. Ms. Chapa will assist us as well as Trustee Rector. And Ms. Hill will read the accolades of our wonderful Panthers.
All right, let's get started. First up, we have Brendan Davila. Brendan is a second grade student at Falk Elementary. Brendan is always willing to help any way needed in the classroom. Ms. Trevino knows that she can count on him because he is reliable and trustworthy. Brendan takes pride in all the work he does, even at home. He is loving, kind, and a very competitive student athlete. These qualities will make him successful, whether it is in his favorite sport, which is football, or his favorite subject, math. Congratulations, Brendan. Next up, we have Isaac Flaherty. Isaac is a fourth grade student at Charlie Marshall Elementary. Isaac constantly pushes himself to academic achievement, especially when he is faced with a challenge. His willingness to show his caring nature is apparent as a team leader in the classroom. His classmates describe him as a good friend and very fun to be around. Isaac inspires not only his classmates, but his teachers as well. We are proud to have Isaac as our Panther of the Month. Next, we have Cameron Sigmund. Cameron is a 7th grade student at AC Blunt Middle School. Cameron embodies all of the traits of a Panther. She exudes a positive and helpful attitude, always willing to help her classmates. Cameron shows excitement for learning and is always willing to go above and beyond for her teachers, friends, and classmates. She will be inducted into the National Junior Honor Society this month. We are proud to name Cameron our Panther of the Month. Next, we have Jesus Rodriguez. Jesus is an 11th grade student at Aransas Pass High School. Jesus has been a wonderful example of a leader at APHS and is a co-editor of the Panther Proud yearbook staff. He is always willing to help other students when needed. Jesus always has a smile on his face and a friendly greeting to everyone. In addition to all his activities, Jesus has earned his Photoshop certification in Adobe and has been deemed college ready by passing his TSI. We are so proud of Jesus. He truly exemplifies what it means to be a Panther. Now we will move on to our Employees of the Month. First, we have Miss Vivian Davila. Vivian is a graduate of Aransas Pass High School and proud to be an Aransas Pass Panther. She began her teaching journey here at APISD in 2013 as a pre-K teacher. She is currently teaching kindergarten at Falk Elementary. She has a true passion for working with our youngest learners and strives to create a community of learners that nurture this growth in a positive, fun environment. Congratulations, Ms. Davila. Next, we have Miss Adrienne Avila. Miss Avila is a 4th grade teacher at Charlie Marshall Elementary. Miss Avila is a dedicated individual with a positive attitude. Her kindness is contagious. This is her 4th year in teaching. She is relaxed, easygoing, and always willing to share ideas with others. Her I can personality allows her to face and accept any challenges that come her way. We are proud to have Miss Avila as our Employee of the Month. Next, we have Mr. Camden Seidenstricker. Mr. Seidenstricker is the middle school band director in his first year at APISD. He brings an energetic and cheerful presence to AC Blunt. He has accomplished much in his first semester, leading the AC Blunt band, including growing the band program and developing positive lines of communications with students, parents, and band boosters. He sponsors our NJHS program, has established a Winter Guard flag club for the middle school, and has grown our regional band qualifiers from 3 to 12 students. We are very lucky to have him at AC Blunt Middle School. Next, we have Miss Catherine Stevenson. Ms. Stevenson is the academic dean at Aransas Pass High School. She has been an incredible addition to the staff of APHS. She has streamlined processes and procedures and works diligently along with administration to ensure students are taking the TSI test and are marked as college ready. Ms. Stevenson has been the catalyst to have every junior take the PSAT and every senior take the SAT for the first time in APHS history. Ms. Stevenson always has a smile on her face and is willing to lend a helping hand. We are truly grateful to have her at APHS. Next, we have Mr. Jason Diven. Mr. Diven is the Maintenance and Transportation Director and is in his second year at APISD. Mr. Diven is constantly going over and beyond for APISD. He is proactive in his approach to ensure the district is fully functional and safe. When issues arise, he immediately works on solutions and afterwards creates processes to prevent the issues in the future. He leads by example, and his dedication to the students and staff is evident daily. Thank you, Mr. Diven. And last but not least, we have Miss Rebecca Moreno. Ms. Marino is a bus monitor in the APISD Transportation Department. She is a hard worker who shows up on time, ready to work every day, and always has a good attitude. Rebecca knows every aspect of her routes, including all the students and where her students get off the bus. She will stay after routes and help out where she is needed. All of us are proud to have her as part of the team. Congratulations, Ms. Marino, and to all of our Panthers and Employees of the Month.
Thank you, Ms. Hill, Mr. Rector, and Ms. Chapa. What it is a pleasure to serve here in Aransas Pass, and we have such wonderful students and families and employees, and congratulations again, and we just encourage you to keep doing your best, keep shining and thriving right here as Mighty Panthers. Our next item, I will turn over to our superintendent, Dr. Barnes.
All righty, thank you. January is School Board Appreciation Month, and I just want to acknowledge the great job that you guys do. I think sometimes people underestimate the amount of hours you put in, the big decisions that come with that. And as a show of our appreciation, you can see there have been gifts given to you at your sitting areas, but there's also some signage, and there's just so much that we want to be thankful for you. I even bought, as I promised, your gumbo. Fresh made today, so that was my gift to the board, but we just appreciate everything that you do for us and supporting the district from your positions. So thank you.
Thank you to all of our wonderful students and employees who took the time to show us some love and kindness. These posters are wonderful, and we have stacks and gifts here that we really appreciate you taking the time to. We know it's an awareness month, but we thank you for all that you have shown us during the month and this evening, and for the gumbo, Dr. Barnes. But I'd also like, since it is School Board Recognition Month, I would like to extend a heartfelt thank you to my fellow trustees. This job is not easy. Some people think we get paid. We don't. We're volunteers. And we represent trustees from 3 years to over 30 years. And I was thinking about that earlier today. And when you look across this boardroom, we have a couple of members who couldn't be here this evening, but it's not just at the school district that we volunteer, that we love and we serve this community on different, through different organizations. And combined, we're probably right around 150 years if you count everybody's service to Panther Nation, to this community. And so again, it's an honor to serve you, the children and employees of this district, but it's a privilege to do so alongside these trustees. So thank you again.
Thank you, Ms. Parker.
And we will take a little pause here before we continue on with our agenda, since it is a school night. In case any students would like to leave, we'll pause so that you can leave. But if you want to stay here and see how your trustees are working for you and the things that the school district does, you're more than welcome to stay. Thank you again for coming, families. We appreciate it. Yes, you can take pictures.
Ms. Butler, they had a video that campuses had made for the School Board Recognition Month, so I didn't know.
Oh, certainly. Okay.
We had, here, let me see if I can. Nope. Oh, hold on, our table, our computer. I think I turned the volume down on the TV.
It's wonderful. If you will, please extend our appreciation back to your teams and your campuses. That was beautiful. Thank you. All right, then. We are now going to enter into public hearing on the Financial Integrity Rating System of Texas, acronym for FIRST. And this report is for the 2022-2023 school year. It'll be presented by our Director of Business and Finance, Ms. Chapa.
Thank you. This report is based on the 2021-22 school year data and audit that was submitted to TEA. On this report, it's open for public comments through the public hearing. We have 20 indicators, and out of the 20 indicators, we scored a rating of a 92. So an A is an A, so we'll take it. We maximized all points on all the indicators that TEA has set forth for us. Indicator number 7, the number of days of cash on hand. We weren't able to maximize that one since interest rates were low in that school year. We received a possible 4 out of 10. And item number 13, the administrative cost ratio. We received a possible 8 points out of a possible 10. That is an indicator that is missed by most small school districts as we compete with the bigger school districts in the administrative cost. We will look into it to see if we can maximize those points and reclassify some of the expenditures. But overall, this was publicized in our newspaper, letting our community know that we received an A in our financial rating, a 92, an A is an A, so we'll take it, and we're happy with our rating. If there's any questions.
At this time, we will open up the floor for public comments. Any public comments? With there being none, we will close the public hearing. Do I have a motion to close the public hearing on the first report? Moved by Mr. Galvan. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Rector. All in favor?
Aye.
Say aye. Opposed? Say nay. Thank you, Ms. Chapa. Thank you, staff. We'll now continue on with our regular agenda. Next item is an update regarding proposals the district received on internet access, overhead fiber line and pole maintenance or replacement with buried cable line, core network switch refresh. And our presenter this evening is our Director of Technology, Mr. Brew. Good evening.
Good evening. We may remember that, I guess I could say it, last year we put out for an RFP. It was just 2 months ago for some fiber line maintenance or replacement or going a different route underground, as well as for our IA, which is our internet access. We pay a monthly fee for that. And then for a core switch replacement. There were several things in that big old RFP that I don't know if you've got it with you, but it'll be that summary page that I wrote up. And I'll kind of go through each one a little bit real quick for that, that goes with that. The big thing was the fiber lines. We have 56 poles out of 145 that need attention, either strapped to or removed or taken down and pulled away. So we did a category 1 for E-rate, which is funding that's going to help us to do this. I mean, it's a pretty expensive job just to maintain those things. And so we had to go out for that. And if we do that, we had to also go out for a replacement of aerial. And then we also had to go for, to go underground with that. We got one bid. We had to extend our the time frame as well to get that in there. We had one company that wanted to come and put in a bid. 2 other companies said it wasn't a big enough job for them that was with it, so they did not put in a bid for that. The good news is the company that did it, that did come in, has done local areas around us, other ISDs that go with it, and they come highly recommended for that to go with it. So what we're planning on doing that one is to remove all aerial fiber in the district, get them off the poles and go underground is what we'd like to do. And to go buried, it's about $263,000 to do that with this company. And that's including the removal of the old fiber and then all connections that go with that. The cost to the district on a category 1 program like that, it's 10%. So we would be out 10% of that total cost. There's maybe even a chance that we have Texas is doing, well they did, but there may be some more money there that are left, the Texas state match. So we may be able to walk out of this thing without paying for it, if the Texas state match is still going. Worst case scenario, or best case scenario is 10%, so $26,000. We got all fiber underground, and we're taking off the poles, aerial. The next piece that we had to do on there was a maintenance program for that. If we do go underground, and then it comes out to be about $60 a month for everything that goes with it. So if somebody digs it up, they're coming out. It's actually $600 a month. But again, we're paying 10% on top of that. I mean, no, under that. So there's a fiber maintenance operations for that. And going out for fiber, we have to go out for leased and third party just to do cost comparisons that goes with this. So we can start looking at all this stuff, and then the best solution is what we pick, which was buried fiber to go with it. Let's see, pole attachment fees, that was $2,300. AEP does not have a spin number, so they don't participate. They're not a provider. So what they are is they just hold it on poles. So we're not going to see any percentage back from that a year. But if we're going underground, we'll never see that fee again after that's all completed.
Has that been a reoccurring fee?
That is a reoccurring fee every year.
Every year? That's a yearly fee?
It's a yearly fee for 156 poles. And let's see. Internet service, we had 3 companies come in for that one. That's our cable bill that comes in. We're fiber going out on one line and cable going out on another. And I think you've got a bid sheet or comparison, cost comparisons that were in that packet as well too. Let's see. Full use of C2 monies. Okay, C2 is every 5 years we get so much money to use, and then after that 5 years, if you don't use it, the possibility is it's gone. Someone else is going to get to use it. We're in our 4th year this time, so we needed to go ahead and get something done for it. What I proposed on the RFP was to get a core switch replacement. We have 64 total switches in the district. This is replacing every single one of them with newer, updated, and going across the district. So that was probably there was five companies on that one, and it varied from, 300 grand to 450 grand. And we would be responsible to 15% of that. What I did was I worked up a little bit without including C1 in this. I mean, we're looking at almost more than $1 million worth of stuff. Worst case, well, I hate saying worst case, $68,000 to cost to the district on that piece. That's not including the internet fees and all that other stuff that goes with that. The process in which we did this was we went out for the RFP. We came back from break. We met with the technology planning committee, got everybody together, and we started looking through all these proposals and the different cost allocation sheets that goes with that. And then this next piece is right here where we're doing an informational of what we want to do. And then the next board meeting will have an action item that goes with it.
So when you say next board, you're talking about February?
February.
Our February regular meeting, okay. Trustees, any questions at this time on any of the elements?
I have one question.
Yes, ma'am.
On the bid eval comparisons there, where you guys called out the MediaLink and the Intech, what were our past relationships with those two companies?
On MediaLink, just from what is going with, we don't have an actual relationship with them, but we had to put something there for the scoring.
Okay.
That goes with that. But with talking with GP and Ingleside and Port Aransas.
Gotcha. Okay. That makes sense. I saw what the numbers
Yeah.
were on each one, so I was just curious there. That's all.
Oh, no worries. The biggest thing I think is we were trying to figure out where we're going to come up with $68,000 or $70,000 that go with this. And the way E-rate works, they work from a July 31st, June 31st, July 1st fiscal year. We are on a September to August 31st to September 1st budget year. So that gives us, they cannot start work, we can't receive a bill until July 1st. So that's when they get to start and finish. So depending on which budget we land for the completed project, it's going to determine where those fundings are going to come up with. We're trying to, I've got my budget going in, and I normally have switches and servers and stuff like this, and I plan for this, 5% a year on that stuff. It's not going to complete it in 1 year, but if case in point, if something happens where we can make something happen before the end of the year, and then something happen after the next year's budget start cycles, we might be able to do it within just whatever my budget is. It's two things that really need to get done in the district anyway. Going undergrounds is way better for hurricanes. And then switches, we're just ready to go, ready to get some more new ones in here.
Question on the switches. Does this proposal, these plans, allow for the district to have an inventory of switches?
We do have an inventory of switches right now, which I can pull up. And if you want a copy of it, I can give it to you, down to the date they were in. So.
Oh, no, I don't need a copy. I just want to make sure that as we move forward, that we keep that inventory.
No, and with E-rate, any devices that get put in, and I know I'm probably taking too much time, but when devices or racks or things that are come in, each one of those devices has to be cataloged, inventoried, and a sticker on this thing. So when you go into some things and it was paid for with E-rate money, it's right there and it's just visual, and you can't do anything with it for 5 years. It's got to be there.
Trustees, any other comments, concerns at this time? Again, we'll see this as an action item at our next board meeting.
I think after it's all said and done, the kids are going to benefit in the long run.
Yeah.
More reliable internet. So I think it's a good thing.
Yes, sir. You're good.
Okay, if nothing further from trustees, thank you.
Hey, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We'll now move on to our next item, which is the district website update.
All right, so we are happy to announce that it is moving incredibly fast. We went with a company called APISD, and their product is under ThrillShare, and there's some information shared with it. They have been, I would say, I've been really impressed with the work they have been doing behind the scenes with our technology department to get our current website moved over into the new format for the new website. There's going to be an app that comes with it, so our parents won't necessarily have to be at a computer. They'll be able to access a lot of the information on their phones. One of the biggest hangups we had with our current website was just it was very cumbersome to make changes. And so then the harder it is to make those changes, the fewer times they occur. And so with a website, we want that to be active. We want it to be current. We want it to be fresh to keep people coming to it so we can make sure they're getting that information. And so that was the reason for the switch and to get the app, because now we can do our notifications through their phones. I think we'll get a lot more traffic that way as well. So I know Blaze has been really excited about it. She's been a part of that along with technology as they're making those transitions over. And so they've even started to and develop some of what that front facing is going to look like. So we're really happy with the product so far. A lot of districts in our area using it, small districts. I see Mr. Bruce coming back. Maybe he's about to add in. So some of our local districts, Ingleside, Refugio, even Corpus Christi. I know it was this weekend. I think theirs is actually moving over because there were a couple little hang-ups in their site this weekend. So it's a very popular company. And I will turn over to Mr. Brooks. He can tell you a little more about the technical side of it.
Should be about 60 to 90 days before there'll be something solid and ready to take a look at and get approved for them to take over. One of the big things with websites is content. You know, you can have best looking website out there, but if you got stuff on there that's you know, a year old, even some of it, you know, even older than that, when you start looking at some of these websites that are out there. And what the way you get content on there is to make it easy for a user to put content up quickly, efficiently, and fast. And this is what this APISD does. It allows you to go one place. You click on Facebook, SMS, chat, this website, this right here, all that. Write out your little deal, whatever picture is down there, and you hit send, and it does all of them all at the same time. So when it's something like that, it puts it a whole lot easier for something to go in. You can do one, or you can do all of them, or you can do some of them that goes with it. Then you're just worried. You're still worried about the content getting on there, but you know that the more easier you do make it, the more content is going to get up there for that. Let's see. Yeah, so in about 60 days, hopefully, we'll have something to show you, and then we can go live. Maybe 90. It's a big thing. So, any questions?
Tell us a little bit more about the app. So we do not have an app per se right now. And so this will be a new feature for our district.
Correct.
Okay. And so that will be a free app to our parents and guardians and community
yes, they'll
members?
be able to, whether it's at the Apple Store or the Google Store, Google Play, or wherever that is, be able to download the app to it. It'll integrate with the lunch, so when you pop open the LAD, it's live. Today's lunch pops up. You can swipe over, go to the next lunch. It's more of an interactive app than just a lot of times when you get into some of these apps that are out there, all it really is it ended up being a static web page on your phone that you can do to it. When you click on something, it just goes to another web page on. So I mean, this is a little bit more interactive with it, keeping up with the information.
They'll have live feeds on it for news. I mean, it's going to be nice.
Yeah.
It'll be just like any other app they can, like I said, accessing at the big markets with Apple or Google. So either phone they have, it'll be ready. It's free, won't cost them anything, and it updates. As soon as we make an update, it updates. So I'm excited.
And so the other new feature I heard is that different platforms, you can have that same message, prepare it one time,
Yes.
and link it to all the district's platforms.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct. So, I mean, you have your content that you want to put out there, whether it's even just a picture. But, you know, you click on what you want. You want it to go to Facebook. You want it to go to Facebook and the web page. You want it to go to Facebook page and Twitter. Do you want it to send a call out? So it's going to take over our SMS messaging as well, too.
So this will be one service that helps us with all our communication tools.
Correct.
Okay.
And I think it'll even help with our principals, because you can also, like what Jason's talking about, you can share it out. But let's say I'm the principal on campus. I got 4 or 5 teachers who also want to help us manage social media. Well, they can also have the right to create something to share out, but then it has a control in it where they would still be able to okay it at the end. So then, you know, Mr. Roms could say he has 4 or 5 people. They post 4 or 5 different things. It comes to him first. Once he okays it, proofs it, then it will go out. So it doesn't automatically, even if you want your yearbook kids to be involved, like there's still that check and balance in the system to make sure that what we're sending out is going to be appropriate and, you know, free of errors and things like that.
Oh, yeah. I'm excited. I think it's going to be fun. I think it's going to be really good for the district.
Trustees, any other questions or comments? Okay, so this was just an informational item at this time. Staff, anything further?
No.
Okay,
No.
Thank you. Next up, we have our maintenance projects update for our stadium lighting, AC blunt roof, and school bus delivery timelines. Dr. Barnes.
Yes, ma'am. So with the stadium lighting project, we were able to meet with the company and kind of get those timelines set up. Based on their needs and our needs, it was best to get started once the school year ended. So they'll start in, once school is out at the end of May, early June, but they will have it completed before our football games. There was a question about would the track be able to be used during the summer for like summer track, youth track, and that still should be able to take place while that project is moving forward. The AC blunt, we checked the roof. We had a engineer come out and look at it. We wanted to be sure it wasn't a safety issue because we had noticed some water standing in certain areas. So they came out December the 19th, if I'm not mistaken, Mr. Bennett. And there was not a safety issue there. All righty.
It's just a light fixture,
It's a light
or
fixture.
one bulb, so.
One bulb. Yeah, there you go. So they came out, they checked it out. It's not a safety issue. There is some areas where there's some, we need to get some water moving. And so the long-term solution, we're still working through that. It's not an immediate hazard or anything right now, so we're going to keep working at it. And we'll have some future updates for you in regards to the roof. School bus delivery timelines. January, by the end of the month, we're expecting our first bus. And the second 2 buses out of 3 will come to us in April. And so I'm really excited about that because normally that bus turnaround is a pretty long time. So Mr. Divin must have been pulling some friendship cards with Thomas Bus Company to get those in. I think we would have had one already, but they Ingleside had a longer wait, and so they decided to give her one of our buses to two of them to Ingleside first. So after another call back to a friend, we're going to expect one this month and 2 in April.
Trustees, questions, comments? Okay, if there are none regarding the maintenance project updates. Next item is our 2024-2025 school calendar update. Dr. Barnes.
Yes, ma'am. So we have 3 calendars that we share with you guys. We're going to share with the our DIC for approval before it goes out to our staff to get their votes on it as well. And one of them mirrors what we have this year. 2, they have some slight variations, but we wanted to share them with you first to give you a prelude to what we're going to share with the staff.
Trustees, questions on any of the 3 options? Option 1 is comparable to our existing calendar. Option 2 has 1 less student day, more professional development in August, Wednesday start date, Friday professional development, work days in September and October, and the last day of school will end on Thursday instead of Wednesday. And kind of flip that for option 3, has less professional development in August, also has a Wednesday start day, Friday professional development and work days in September and October, and again, the last day of school will be a Thursday. Questions at this time?
Is there one option that our staff likes more than another?
Not yet. We haven't shared out yet. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so this is the preview before it goes to the campus committees and then staff. Okay.
Gotcha.
All right. Okay, well, if there are no trustee comments or questions at this time, next item is our superintendent teacher and student advisory committees update. Dr. Barnes.
Yes, ma'am. I think we have a short presentation. So just kind of want to give you guys an overview of what my plans are. We'll have a teacher committee. Which one we're going to start with? Teacher advisory committee. I asked campuses to identify 2 teachers from each campus they'd like to nominate for that. I got those names in. I'm going to send them a formal invitation, thanking them for being selected to be on that committee. We're going to try to meet monthly to talk about teacher issues and seeing it from their point of view. As we roll out new initiatives in the district, I want to hear from them before we roll it out to just kind of get a different perspective. So that'll be our teacher committee. We're going to have a junior high and a high school student advisory committee. One will be, the high school is going to be more, they'll get a chance to self-select the application process. The same kind of process. It'll be 11th and 12th graders. 9th and 10th graders are very hard on those types of committees. They haven't been in high school long enough to really share out, the high school experience. So we're going to start off with 11th and 12th graders. It'll last a year. This spring, we'll kind of dabble in a little bit, but whoever we select this spring, we'll probably carry them over for the first year for next year. The goal will be to have a rolling group. So our 11th graders roll up to our seniors, and our seniors are graduating. Junior high will be similar, except that I'm going to actually have more input from the counselor and the principal, and it'll be 7th and 8th graders, 6th through 8th graders, I'm sorry. And again, the idea is to let these student groups kind of share with us how they see school from their perspective, because a lot of times we see it as adults, we make plans and decisions, and they don't get a chance to have some input, and sometimes it's really enlightening. I've met with junior high kids and asked them, okay, well, what do you think about the registration process going to high school? And what I learned was that they said, we get the paper and it shows us the courses that we need to sign up for, but it would be nice to have that course selection guide as well at the same time. So I hadn't thought about that, but that was something from their perspective they felt would help them out. So having these types of committees and able to run information by them is going to be really helpful for us. Again, it'll be like a monthly meeting with them. And we're also I didn't mention about the high school kids, but we're also going to try to integrate them in the community. I want to take them to some of our events that go on in town, maybe some of our city council meetings, our chamber meetings, just different things to kind of integrate them into what does governance look like in their own community. Let them be a part of that process. So there'll be 3 committees.
Thank you. Trustees, any comments or questions on this informational item?
And the pictures are not kids. That was just me stealing stealing photos off the.
Oh, in the presentation.
Yes, ma'am, in the presentation. No.
When will the invitation go out for the students?
For the students, probably in February.
Okay.
I'll work on some February, try to get the, it'll be kind of touchy with them as we're kind of getting toward the end of the year, especially with those seniors. But so maybe it'll be a little more informal, just meeting with them, just kind of finishing out the spring, and then have it ready to go for the fall.
Okay. Well, if there are no comments or questions from trustees at this time.
I have one
Oh, yes,
quick
go ahead.
question. How will the application be shared with the students?
So that process I'm going to give with Mr. Josh, but I think like some QR codes, maybe even have some paper copies, and then they can find out which best way to get it out to the kids, whether it be through maybe an English class or, U.S. history, which will be 11th graders as well, maybe English 4. So just so they can have it, kind of give them an overview. I even thought about doing a short video just explaining like what it would be like. They kind of go with that, and then they can make their decision to sign up.
Okay.
Thank you. Our next item is another informational item, introduction of a board activity calendar. Dr. Barnes.
Yes, ma'am. So we want to create a calendar for the board to have some expectations for our monthly meetings. And so this will kind of be like a living document, right? So we have kind of some items in place currently, but as we see our needs change throughout the year, but the goal would be that for the year, we would know, let's say in February, we'll have updates from the campus on their mid-year testing. So we'll know every February it's going to come out. Maybe there's a CTE month where that information comes out. So the board is going to be aware what that cadence is going to look like throughout the school year.
Trustees, you have a sample. We have a sample in our materials. Any comments or questions at this time? Thank you for the work thus far, Dr. Barnes, on that, and staff. Our next item is a new item. It is a balanced scorecard. Dr. Barnes will be presenting this.
Yes, ma'am. All right, so the balanced scorecard is two parts. One is deals with our strategic planning, which is something I think we're, just based on where I'm at now, we need to probably get started again. And secondly, it kind of goes with the cadence of our school board meetings. It gives us some direction on those big focus items that we need to keep current and provide information on. So the 4 areas that it looks at are student achievement, faculty and staff satisfaction and engagement, which goes with our retention, which we know is something we need to work on as a district, community satisfaction and engagement as well, and then lastly, our financial stewardship. Like Ms. Chapel just mentioned about our first report, how we manage in our funds, what our facilities are looking like, those types of things. And so those 4 areas be built out. So it's a long-term plan that would take place over 3 to 5 years, but we'd have checkpoints. We'd have strategic planning that goes with it, how we're going to get to those checkpoints, and then how we're going to monitor those checkpoints. And so it helps us to go through that process, building it out, and then monitoring it and making adjustments as necessary. I provide an example. That's the one that GP is using. It's a very, different districts throughout the state use it. There's a few in our area, which you'll see on the last slide. But the services that come with the balanced scorecard process are listed out there. The biggest one would be, of course, resetting our strategic plan. We have some elements of it that are in place, but there's some more of it that needs to be finalized. And it really works through the quality control ideas, right? So it's like when we talk about, how are we doing, what are those metrics we're using to measure that, right? And so we're going to build those out. It's built in 3 parts. There's a community piece that goes with it. There's a district leadership piece that goes with it, and of course the school board. And so we are the 3 units that work together on maintaining the balanced scorecard. What you see here is the one pager. So once we're done with the process, we'll have a one pager that's really easy for our public to grasp and get behind and understand. And then we'll see, I think it's the next slide, how it gets built out. And so that's when the system piece comes in. And so, and I know it's kind of hard to see from here, but the very left column is those big four areas, right? And then we start building out, you know, what falls under student achievement. There are different metrics and measures, maybe CCMR, maybe balanced literacy, you know, whatever those measures are. And then we have, and you see the greens and yellows. I stole this, I shouldn't say stole it, that's not a good word to use. I borrowed this information from, this is a copy of Taylor ISD's balanced scorecard build out. And the green and the yellow kind of let us know how we're doing, right? So when our public looks at it, and they might not know all the details of the work that we're working through, but that green will say, hey, we're on track. We can keep moving forward with the processes. The yellow may say we're still in process. There's still some work needing to be done. And then, of course, the red would be something that we need to kind of go back and follow up on, make some adjustments. And so we'll do that throughout the year. And you'll see the years is built out. So it's not something that we're going to work on one time and put it away. It's going to happen throughout the year. We'll bring the board updates on it throughout the year as well as a part of our board calendar. But we'll build out those activities. It'll be very open and transparent for everybody to be aware of what we're doing, where we're going, and how we're going to get there. Dr. Greg Gibson, he will be the gentleman we'll be working with. He is a former superintendent, works for Moke and Casey. He's probably superintendent about 21 years. He worked with us in Splendora, so I kind of knew him from. We built some KPIs in place there, some measures because we needed them at that time. And so he's just our person that's going to work with that journey with us if we know as we step forward. They also created a cohort, which is the next slide, which I thought was a great idea. And I had the first cohort meeting last week. And so these are the districts in our area who are currently working through the balanced scorecard. And so what they've created this year was the superintendents have a cohort meeting as well. So we'll have individual work that we do with Greg as a district to work on just our plan and our processes and our pieces. But then we'll also get a chance to work through with other districts as well. So, for instance, the other night, I'll look at Beeville and Gregory Portland. They're about in their third year in the process. For us, Runge, Kennedy, we're kind of just getting started. And the other districts kind of all fall in between. I think London's in their first year. So I was able to get a chance to meet and visit and look at the challenges they've worked through. So for us who are just starting, we can see some of the hiccups that they might have worked out already, so we don't have to make those same. So it's a great community built around the idea of the balanced scorecard that we can share with. If you guys have board member friends who are in those districts, you can now you know somebody you can reach out to. Hey, how's this going for you guys? What are you doing there with those adjustments with your balanced scorecard? But it's a very effective process, and it's really built around quality control, which I know you guys who work in industry really understand what that process looks like. And we're going to take that and put it in the school setting. I think that.
Thank you, Dr. Barnes. Trustees, thoughts, questions? So with this, Dr. Barnes, what is the time frame for our district in being part of the cohort?
So, I mean, we will be a part of the cohort as soon as we're, signed up. Okay. After that. The work itself will start next month in full detail with us having to start working on those long-term goals. And so we'll immediately get started. And, it kind of builds on some of the work we're already doing. But it's going to just clarify a lot of things. There are lots of processes we'll be putting in place to ensure those things that we say we're going to do are we going to be good at. We're going to have checks and balances on them, opportunities to work on them, get better at them, but it'll be through a process. It won't be haphazard, and everybody will know. That's the other good part about it. It'll be very transparent. I see us once we get it built out, which that part takes maybe a couple of meetings with that. But then after that, it's an ongoing process. So we'll never be out of it. It'll never really be done, because once we meet some of those goals, we'll make adjustments. And the next year we may bring in new goals, or at 18 months, we realize we want to make some adjustments and bring in some new goals there as well. So it's just a continuous improvement process the district's going to be in, based around those 4 areas: staff engagement, community engagement, academics, and our finance. And financial integrity is both finances and facilities.
Okay, so it'll cover both.
We'll cover both, yes, ma'am. It's going to be a lot of work, but it's going to be some good work.
Okay, trustees. Thank you, Dr. Barnes. If there's nothing further, we will move now on to our enrollment report. And so this is for our attendance and enrollment we did have a holiday break, so it's going to cover from December 4th, 2023 through January 18th, 2024. And we have a note here about our attendance from January 16th.
So that'll be the biggest hiccup.
That's another item, okay.
Yes, so we opened up on Tuesday for our students, and our enrollment was not great. And so with that, which you'll see a little later on, we'll have a low enrollment waiver that we're going to try to file with the state for that. But it did impact our attendance because it was really low that day. So that number is the true number of where we are right now. So with the adjustment, hopefully from the state, that'll move up as well. One of the other things, too, I think is going to be mindful of is that our enrollment, we're growing every year. You know, and so it's not a lot of students, but when you're a district our size, when you gain 30 or 40 kids, that's a lot of kids. So keep that in mind as we're going through the enrollment on a monthly basis, with our future planning.
Questions, trustees?
I've got one question. I've noticed through the last few months that the date range usually is within a 30-day period. Is there a way to get a cumulative of what our enrollment rate is? Yeah, I think that'd provide a better picture of where we're at versus a 30-day period.
You're talking about on the report itself. It has the year. I mean, it has the month, but you would like to see a column that shows the year to date as well for the school year.
It gives us a better understanding of where our ADA is going to fall, where we're looking at attendance from the beginning of the school year to current versus just a 30-day window.
Okay. Any other questions, comments? Okay, then next item, JET grant status update.
All right, Mr. Matthew.
Oh, there he is. Good evening.
Good evening. So right now, we are it's 2 different grants with the JET grant. With health science, as you see at the top, we're actually going to be, it ended December 31st, 2023, and I'll be doing the closeout report at the end of this month. We when I wrote the grant, it was that we were expected to train 99 students on equipment. We had trained 109 students. So we well exceeded that expectation. With that enrollment number, we will be getting back about 10% of the retention from the grant. So that would be hopefully be coming back sometime in the end of February, March. So that grant is done, will be done in the next month, at the end of this month. Well, it's already done. I'll be writing that closeout report. With welding, with the electrical part, we were grateful enough that I wrote an extension, and it was able to, they were able to grant us an extension from TWC. One of the things that I would like to mention was they liked that we were just doing training with the welding students. Getting those backup generators from Mr. Diven really made a difference. Just us seeing that we were already doing training, not us waiting for us to get, electrical from AEP, but getting those generators and start training. So with getting that extension, we got till the end of May to finish training. I had wrote in that grant that we were going to be training 52 students And right now we have an enrollment of 85 welding students. Right now we've trained about 40 of our students, and those are upperclassmen. We have so we have about 45 freshmen, and they are in the shop. So I don't see an issue meeting that number at all at the end of May. As you can tell, there's some pictures in there. There's the automage machine that our students are using. It's a digital, like a cadaver. It's, to me, one of our, that thing is just one of our crown jewels. We have students doing some phlebotomy on the phlebotomy chairs, sticking each other. And then down at the bottom, you see of our students doing some different welding work in the booths. Right now, we're about 98% complete. The last panel, we hope, is to arrive at the end of this week or next week. And then it's just AEP, putting the gears in, turning on the switch. We hope to have power, hopefully by the end of this month, probably no later than February. So we hope that this JET grant will be done, hopefully by the end of February. Anything else, Mr. Diven, that I missed? So, any questions y'all might have?
Trustees? Well, thank you, and congratulations to those students who've already completed the training.
Yes, it's helped them get certifications. I wish I had a number with me right now, but we have about 15. These have helped with the growth of our program continue. Students get certifications in EKG, phlebotomy, patient care tech. We'll be adding medical assistant, hopefully in a year, maybe not this year, but next year, adding CNA. But all these equipment that we've gotten, especially in healthcare and in welding, has just helped our students get more time to focus on their craft. We had 3 students this past week that got certifications in welding, in AWS, and structural steel. So just having this equipment is very vital to our students.
Thank you. Next item is our calendar of upcoming events. Dr. Barnes. Trustees, you have it in your packets.
Spring special gets busy. I will tell you guys right now we're getting, there's a lot of things coming up. Sports-wise, of course, I can tell you basketball is full swing. We got a lot of games going on, winning a lot of games as well. Our other sports, powerlifting has started. We're about to get started. Of course, I saw the softball girls already starting to work out there. So there's a lot of those going on this month. And there's some other events. Like they mentioned, National Junior Honor Society is coming up. It's a great event for us to be at if you guys can be there. And so you have that listing to add to your calendar, the things that you can attend if possible.
Trustees, any questions about the upcoming events? If not, we will move on to our financial reports. Ms. Chapa.
Yes, the financial reports. The first report, the accounts payable report. We have $6,438,166 in our bank. It's a little bit higher than most months as the tax collections are coming in. Total disbursements for the month was $472,721. That amount is a little bit slightly lower in that month since we had only 2 weeks of operation in December. The budget status report. Year to date, we've received $7,455,629. That's almost 40% of our budget, and we've spent $5,865,755. 31% of our budget. The food service budget. Total revenues that have come in is $338,000, 23% of our budget, and we spend $378,395. That's 19% of our budget, including the fund balance, since we are going to overspend on food service, since we have excess fund balance in food service. In the debt service fund, we've received $786,992, 43% of our budget, mostly tax collections coming in to pay our bond payments in the month of February and August. We also have a quarterly investment report. This is required to be presented every 3 months. Total interest earned through our text pool was $74,484. That's interest being made at 5.37%. This is a requirement through our investment policy. As far as FEMA projects, we've called to see the submissions that we had for the reimbursements of our baseball, softball field that we submitted in the month of June, July, and what we are told is that we are in the queue too. They won't tell us where we are in line to get reviewed, but we are checking up on them and seeing the process of trying to get reimbursed for those FEMA projects. ESSER expenditures, we didn't have any for the month. We still have approximately $53,000 in the ESSER funds available to spend. That is all I have for financials.
Okay. Thank you. Trustees, any questions? I have just one. Has FEMA requested any other information? I know in the prior year they did, but so now we're just waiting.
We're just waiting.
Okay. Thank you, Ms. Chapa. We'll now move on to board updates. And at this time, we do have our subcommittee who has been convening, and trustees have a draft of our board code of conduct and operating procedures. Ms. Hill, if you'll give us an update.
There are no additional updates from the committee at this time. We will revisit post our convention in Galveston.
And so trustees, as we certainly have time, but if you have other thoughts or other suggestions or questions on the draft so far that's come out of the subcommittee, please submit those to Ms. Hill. And then we will, like she mentioned, we will revisit this as we come out of the governance camp. If there's any other legal updates or legislative, anything moving there that would impact our procedures. We're now at the point of our meeting for the consent agenda. We have one item under consent, which are the minutes for the regular meeting of December 11th, 2023. Upon review, trustees, of the minutes, do we have a motion to approve the minutes for December 11th, 2023?
I'll make that motion.
Motion by Mr. Stansberry. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Rector. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed say nay. Motion carries. We're now at the portion of our agenda for action items. First item is consider and approve the resolution regarding whether to adopt a policy authorizing a campus of the district to employ or accept as a volunteer a chaplain under Chapter 23 of the Texas Education Code. Dr. Barnes.
Yes, so this is a state resolution that was passed on our last legislative session, which would allow us to we have to make a decision by March on whether to accept chaplains within our school system as volunteers or as employees. There is some information shared with you that was checked by our legal representative, and you have it in front of you. If need be, we can reach out to our attorney if you have any further questions about it.
And with this resolution, and if we need to convene tonight to, with the attorney, or consult rather with the attorney, we'll convene an executive session. There's a draft resolution. Would any members of the board like to convene an executive session for further discussion with the district's attorney?
I guess just for clarification, are we asking to pass this so it goes into policy so we have the ability to do that, or are we planning on actually implementing and using that policy?
So there's not a policy provided. The Senate Bill 763 authorizes districts to employ the chaplains or accept chaplains as volunteers to provide support, services and programs for students, and requires each board to vote on whether or not to adopt a policy. So the resolution would say whether or not we're going to adopt a policy, but there's not a, sometimes how we get legal updates that come out from TASB or what have you, there's not a policy. We would have to formulate one, yes.
I guess the question becomes, is there a need for us to do that? Is the board wanting to move in that direction?
I'm thinking that with the events that's happened in other districts, the tragedies that's happened, is making the students have the opportunity to hear from a chaplain on the school as they work through that tragedy. You know what I'm saying? I mean, school counselors are really not trained in some of the fields that a chaplain would be, as far as whether you believe or not, or why did my friend get killed, or whatever. It's just another source. It's the way I understand it. I may be wrong, but that's the way I understand it, because no school has. I mean, they try to separate church and state all these years. Now it looks like they're trying to bring it back a little bit.
So just for clarification, with Senate Bill 763, and Dr. Barnes or Ms. Miller, please chime in. The districts are allowed to employ the chaplains or accept the chaplains as volunteers in providing these services as school counselors, as mental health and behavioral providers, or counselors rather. Okay, so it's not saying that you have to have a chaplain position.
No.
But it's saying that the district would accept either as an employee, compensated person, or as a volunteer, as a school counselor, as a mental health counselor, as a to provide behavioral mental health school counseling to students. So we have existing policy that provides for what the district requires for those professions, school counselors, that they have to be certified, they have to be licensed. Senate Bill 763, I believe, again, correct me if I'm wrong, does not have that same stipulation for chaplains to be certified and licensed. Now, if a chaplain wants to volunteer, the district already has, we already have legal policy, we already have a process online. Anybody who wants to volunteer for whatever reason, to be on a campus, that's available right now. They can go to our website and do so. If a chaplain wants to be a school counselor and we have a position that's open, they certainly can apply for that position. So we have employment practices and policies for that. So what this is asking for is either we will accept to adopt a new policy that would allow chaplains to provide those same services without being a licensed certified school counselor, or resolution that we would not allow that.
It does, I mean, whatever the board wants, I mean, the detail becomes in the policy. That's where what's going to spill out what our expectations are for that. So, I mean, if we want to move forward with that, I mean, we have to adopt this resolution to move to the next phase, which would be adopting a policy. Then I imagine there's probably some districts now that are getting with legal and looking to see what that's going to look like for them.
So, go ahead.
I thought that this was to not technically adopt a new policy, but to allow a chaplain under the existing GKG legal for volunteer policy that we already have.
The way it's reading, it's a resolution of the Aransas Pass Independent School District Board of Trustees regarding whether to adopt a policy. So we don't have a policy in place now, we'll have to adopt one.
But when you get in here, it says, when you look at bullet 3, it says, therefore, adoption of a separate volunteer and/or employment policy exclusively for persons who are chaplains is believed to be redundant. So but the current policy doesn't allow a chaplain as a volunteer in the GKG legal. So it's asking to give that an allowance instead of creating a new policy. That's how I read it.
GKG legal, GKG is issued from the state. If it's a legal policy, that's the state issued, and or TASB develops that policy for us, so we can't modify that. So GKG, it would be anyone who would like to volunteer in the district in any capacity can go through the volunteer application process and volunteer. So a chaplain would be welcome to do that and volunteer in that capacity. If the board were to want to pass a resolution to employ or accept as volunteers chaplains for specified services in Senate Bill 763, you would have to pass a policy DP local.
Got it.
To change that policy.
So all this resolution is saying that we're agreeing to move forward to the adoption phase of a policy.
This resolution is affirming our current policies and saying we don't need to revise them.
Because as a volunteer, they can already do that.
Right.
Our current policy already allows for chaplains to volunteer, and they also currently allows for chaplains to apply for a counseling position, mental health professional position, if they are qualified for the requirements of that position.
So if we've already got it covered, there's no need doing another one.
Exactly.
Right. What we don't have, just so that we're clear, what we don't have is a policy that says we're going to allow a person to serve as a counselor without being licensed or certified.
Well, I mean,
Senate Bill 763 says a chaplain can come in. It's specifically for chaplains. A chaplain can come in and serve as a student counselor without being certified, without being licensed, like our existing employees are. That's the difference. So when it's asking to adopt a policy, it's asking to adopt a policy that will allow that difference, that deviation. So we would have non-chaplain employees as school counselors. They're required to be certified and licensed. But if we adopt a policy out of this SB 763, we would have chaplains serving students alongside certified counselors, licensed counselors, but the chaplains would not be required because this SB 763 does not require them to be licensed or certified. That's the difference.
I believe they need to be certified, my opinion.
I think we ought to just keep what we got, forget about it.
Leave it like it is.
I agree.
So again, if a chaplain wants to come in the example that Mr. Stansberry made, if a chaplain wants to come in as a volunteer, they can do that. So that part of SB 763 is already covered. We already have a process in place for that. They don't even have to come and talk to us right now. If they want to volunteer, they can just go online, go to our website, and they can initiate. It's an online process to get it started, okay? The second part of that is to employ them as in the school counseling professions. The difference here is that they would not be required to be licensed or certified. There might be some out there that are licensed and certified. But what this Senate bill is allowing is for districts to employ chaplains without requiring them to be licensed and certified in the school counseling positions. So this is a draft, and so the draft reaffirms that they can volunteer already with our existing policy and process. And if they want to be employed in the school district's student counseling positions, they would have to apply and qualify. And so the state is requiring all ISDs to formalize a decision by resolution, by a vote of the board to go on record as to whether or not the district is going to allow chaplains at a district campus as a volunteer or accept them as employees in the student counseling positions without requiring licensing and certification. So that's the draft resolution for your consideration, tweaking. And again, if we need to pause and speak with the district attorney, we can do so as well in executive session. The attorney is available to us during the meeting. Give you a moment to look at that after we've had discussion and clarification. Does anyone have any other questions or concerns? So thank you, Ms. Miller, for also helping clarify that. I'll give you a moment to read through it again after receiving this evening's clarification.
Did our legal counsel have any feedback on this particular topic as far as liabilities of if something like this were, not that I'm saying that we implement it, but just questioning if something like this were implemented by the district, whether we were, promoting particular denominations and religions over others based on specific chaplains that volunteer because they're usually affiliated with, one sect or another, whether that be Catholicism or, Methodist or whatever. Did they have any feedback for us on that?
No, but we certainly can ask that question if you'd like. The attorney's available.
That'd be a big concern for me, personally. It's just
What kind of chaplain?
you'd always be fighting that battle, I think, because everybody has different religious beliefs. So when you're talking about counseling and having someone in that position, every kid they approach would be a separate case of, do they believe what you believe when you're trying to counsel them through their problems? And what's that going to look like legally when you advise a child based on your belief that may not be that child's belief or their familial belief?
Well, the one thing is when they, on a volunteer basis, what helps cover us with that is that they would have to have parent permission to have those conversations. Like if you want to have a one-on-one with a kid and you're not a school employee, that will take some parent permission to allow that to happen.
Okay.
So it's not that it can't happen, and the parent's okay with that, then it's fine. And but that would be one way to look at that as well. But if a kid wanted to go and have a conversation with them, then that would, especially a kid at high school at that level, the situation would be a little different.
Trustees, any other questions? Would anyone like to speak with the district attorney this evening?
I think we got too many questions and then answers that we can't do anything with this tonight or, right now. I'm gonna find out more about it.
Mm-hmm. You can certainly make a motion to table it. We just keep in mind that we have to act on a resolution one way or the other, and the state deadline is March 1st. We do have an upcoming meeting, our regular February meeting.
I make a motion that we table this until our February board meeting to give everyone time to do additional research and answer any questions that they may have.
Okay, we have a motion to table this item. Do we have a second?
Second.
Motion by Ms. Hill, second by Mr. Galvan. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed say nay. The motion carries. Our next item of business, I will abstain due to a work conflict of interest. And so Ms. Hill, our board secretary, will preside over this item.
All right. Our next item of business is to consider and approve a memorandum of understanding with Texas A&M University Corpus Christi for the Educator Preparation Program. Dr. Barnes.
Yes, I am. So this, what it will allow us to do is to have their students come in as student teachers. So it's pretty traditional. It does help us to get some of those people in our building, and hopefully we can keep them once they graduate. But that's what we're asking here, is that we sign off on allowing students in their programs to be a part of our student teaching here in the school district.
Board, any questions, comments?
I don't have any questions.
Okay. If there are no questions, do we have a motion to consider and approve the memorandum of understanding with Texas A&M University Corpus Christi for the educator preparation program?
So motion.
Second.
Motion made by Mr. Galvan, second by Mr. Rector. Any further discussion? If not, all in favor, please say aye.
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 Any opposed, say nay. Motion carries. At this time, we'll give President Butler time to return to her seat and lead us in our next order of business.
Thank you, Ms. Hill.
You're welcome.
Our next item is consider and approve an application for low attendance waiver. Dr. Barnes.
Yes, so this is for Tuesday. So anytime our attendance is abnormally low for one reason or another, we can apply to the state to see if they will grant us a waiver. And what they use is our attendance from the previous year, and in contrast to what our attendance is for that day. So with the board's approval, I will be able to submit that to TEA tomorrow.
So move.
Board questions? We did have one question from Mr. Molinax. And the question is, with the waiver, if approved, and that's submitted to the state, will that increase, get us closer to the 93%?
Well, it'll adjust our funding that we'll lose, for that day if they approve it. In terms of just the overall attendance rate, it may not change as much because the TA doesn't, they don't recognize many days as being off. So we'll kind of see how it comes back with the waiver.
I have a question. Yes. How many of these can we submit within a year?
That's a good question. I'm not sure.
Our second one. And
Second one for the
I
year.
don't want to use them all up.
I think in these situations, the state does understand because they asked on Tuesday for the region centers to give them a outlook of how many districts were open, how many were closed, how many started with a partial day or whatever it might have been. So they do recognize it, and it's one of those uncontrollable things that we just have no control over. So hopefully they'll stay understanding for as many times as need be.
Any other questions or comments, trustees? Mr. Stansberry, if you'll continue.
I made the motion to approve it.
Oh, okay. So we have a motion to approve the application for low attendance waiver by Mr. Stansberry, second by Mr. Rector. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed say nay. Motion carries. Next item, consider and approve a grant from Phillips 66 through the Aransas Pass ISD Education Foundation for the APHS welding program. Dr. Barnes.
Yes, so this is another great opportunity. I want to thank Mr. Bennett for the work he's done with the Education Foundation, but Phillips 66 provided a grant. They want it specifically for our welding program, and it's a little over $19,000, and so we're asking the board to accept that grant so we can give it to our welding students for the supplies they need.
Trustees, as you've had received this item, do you have any questions or comments?
Make a motion, we accept.
Okay, we have a motion to accept the grant from Phillips 66 through the Aransas Pass ISD Education Foundation for the APHS welding program in the amount of $19,750. Motion by Mr. Rector. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Ms. Hill. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed say nay. Motion carries. And to go along with that, our next item is to consider and approve a budget amendment for the grant for the welding program. Dr. Barnes.
Yes, so with your approval, we are now asking that we can make a budget amendment to put that money into the budget for the welding program.
Okay, so the budget amendment for the pass-through grant that we just approved from Phillips 66. Do we have a motion to approve the budget amendment as presented for the grant for the welding program as a pass-through for the Phillips 66 grant?
I move we approve the budget amendment for the grant for the welding program.
We have a motion by Mr. Stansberry to approve. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Ms. Hill. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed say nay. Motion carries. We're now at the point of our meeting for discussion of topics for future meetings. Trustees, anything at this time for future meetings? If not, we will now convene an executive session as authorized by the Texas Open Meetings Act, Texas Government Code 551.001, concerning any and all purposes permitted by the Act. Section 551.071, consultation with attorney. Section 551.072, real property. Section 551.074, personnel, resignation, and personnel discussion. Section 551.0821, personally identifiable information about public school students. The time now is 8:36 p.m. This open session is closed, and the trustees will convene an executive session. The time now is 9:50 p.m. We have closed our executive session, reconvening an open session, and act on any items regarding requiring action from the closed session. Next item, consider and approve resignation. Do we have a motion to approve the resignation as discussed in executive session?
So motion.
We have a motion by Mr. Galvan. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Ms. Hill. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed say nay. Motion carries. If there is no further business, trustees, then we are convening. The time now is still 9:50 p.m. Thank you.